Yeah, so in our team, we have seen curiosity and confusion around AI, and a lot of it was based on departments that may have areas where they could improve the processes. We have a young team, so there is a lot of people that were eager to get in and understand how AI can help their processes there. But what we have done is we have created a AI steering committee and to give them a safe space to experiment within the governance and framework that we can work on. Um, for us, it was important to make sure that it does not distract from their core processes, core business, but complements it.
Welcome back to the Information Week podcast. I'm Senior Editor Zhao Pierre Ruth, and today's episode is Has AI replaced the citizen developer? Many organizations have at least explored the use of AI in coding, changing the game for professional developers and citizen developers alike. Not that long ago, the conversation focused on what no-code and low-code platforms meant for in-house development. Citizens, developers, staffers with limited or no professional background in coding could use these platforms to produce what somewhat simplified apps. That, in theory, left professional developers with more time to focus on the more robust, feature-rich software that required their skills. With the use of AI to code, that got off to a bit of a rocky start with some companies accidentally releasing proprietary code in the world. Those were the early days for that. But now it seems AI is here to stay as a tool that developers might use to streamline their work. This also includes some vibe coding, letting AI take much of the lead, which could take this even further. So where does that leave citizen developers who may have been hitting their stride, and the ecosystems that incorporated no-code, low-code platforms? And for today's episode, I am joined by Krishna Tiwari, co-founder and CTO for Wilter AI.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah.
Also joined by Maruf Ahmed, CEO for Dexian.
Hello, everyone.
Krishna, Maruf, thank you
Hello
so much for
everyone.
being here today.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Good. All right, so let's start off, Krishna, with your kind of take on things. As a CTO, has your organization used citizen developers and no-code platforms? Has it been something that you kind of looked at and give a little sense of like how that worked within your teams?
Yeah, I encourage the surgeon developers. Primarily, if you see as a CTO, right, there will be other operations like maybe there will be operations teams, business teams, marketing teams who are kind of dependent on, in the previous days, dependent on the tech part of it for any of the smaller features or maybe coming with a dashboard or maybe shorting a particular report. All these things are now pretty much done by the business or the operations or the marketing team, and that gives a lot of freedom to them to kind of innovate and come up with kind of custom solutions which can work out for their daily needs. And at the same time, it gives a lot of breathing space to the tech side of the world where the developers who are working on a particular sprint or a task, right, that is not getting affected. So they can focus on primarily on the task which matters more to them, or maybe the plan which got decided as a tech strategy. And the way why I encourage, right, I have realized that especially in my org, right, I realized that the operations team and the tech team or the marketing, right, when they are in a room, right, they are talking the same language, and AI has become the translator. So it's like AI has enabled everyone to be a bit kind of a developer. So even because the natural language where you can code and all, right, so that's I pretty much I am loving this particular transitioning or the transformation which is happening in my org.
Gotcha. Thank you. And my next question really is going to be, how AI coding has kind of changed that no code, low code, platform use. Are you kind of like continuing to use those resources, like the no code, low code platforms, or is the AI coding kind of really kind of like showing up like, hey, hi, guess what? You can use the AI coding, and what were the traditional no code, low code platforms? Have they kind of like kind of cycle back to the wayside.
Yeah. So if I talk about the AI coding or AI co-pilots or assist systems nowadays, right? They are the new evolution of the low code or no code platforms itself. You're getting more freedom. So creativity is in your hand, and the major advantage what you see is because of this, right? Any idea converting to a particular app or something is becoming very easy, right? And that's the reason that you'll see a lot of innovation happening. But is that if I compare, these are not what do you say? If I see these two places, right? If I compare with the no code, low code, or full code itself, right? So AI coding has transformed all these three layers. So be a developer. If a developer is coding or maybe working on a particular feature, their life has changed where AI coding is helping them to do the things in the faster manner. They can save their time to do it for sure. Uh, the when it comes to the business users or citizen developers, right? Wherever you have the logic in place, right? The no code or low code platform was helping you to do things in the structured manner. That's why the creativity was still limited by the what do you say, what is available on the platform to kind of tweak. But now with the AI coding, it's unlimited. You can actually, if you're not liking a particular reporting dashboard, you come up with a English prompt to just change it, right? And that's why the change here is that the 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 citizen developers are getting more innovation opportunities. I call it as a shadow IT teams because right now the way anyone can code or build some kind of an apps, right? So they are shadow IT teams and they can actually do right kind of a governance. And at the same time, the engineering team can focus on making things safer and making more scalable, right? So in my view, all these things will coexist, and definitely the AI coding is changing all these three layers, and all these layers are relevant in my context, at least in my organization. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so it sounds like you're going to continue on with citizen developers in the mix. So AI hasn't just kind of completely replaced the idea of citizen developers, because one of the thoughts, at least for my consideration, was uh, AI coding would then make it not necessary to have citizen developers. But it sounds like this is AI coding is actually another way to further enable citizen developers.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So, just to add to this point, right? Uh, when I see the practical applicability of all these things, right? Think about an example where you want to maintain the brand guidelines and come up with a dashboard report. In those cases, the templates which are already built or which is done in the past, that makes more sense. And that's why coming with a low code or no code kind of a platform where some kind of a template exists, that is a more logical decision. But the moment you want a creativity that, okay, maybe I'm somehow open where I need some kind of a creativity, your AI assist or AI copilot will help you. But the moment you go with the AI copilot or AI assist, you're coming to a new world where there are a lot of unpredictability. There are a lot of challenges related to data governance, security, what all can leak, right? So these all becomes the what do you say, the things which you one need to kind of cater to. Usually, as a citizen developer, I have at least experienced that when people think about idea to app, they think about that it is working for me or not, but they don't think about what is happening with the data. Because the moment you utilize natural language to build something with a prompting mechanism, why not there's a chance that someone can maybe intrude to your system utilizing the natural language itself, right? One of the example is that you build an app where the login is happening, and maybe your fellow friends ask that what is the username and password for it, right? And if you have not put the right kind of a guardrails while building the system, which there is a good chance that a citizen developer can miss it. And in that cases, getting some kind of a data leaks or making the particular system or the app to not work on a particular scale, right? those all things become challenging. And that's why the ecosystem of these two, right? When I see this, like the way I approach this on the track strategy point of view is that the the citizen developers will have the freedom to utilize any of the low code, no code, or the AI assist way to kind of build things. But the governance part of it, right? The approval part of should be done by the core engineering teams. So you're still under the supervision where someone expert enough is taking a particular call that what is the quality of your app or the code which is going on and what kind of a threat it has, right? Putting the right kind of a audit or maybe approval processes and governance on top of it is the key there.
Just to kind of add on to that, what are some other pros and cons that you see when you kind of compare what we're seeing now with AI coding with what was like that more, the prior to AI coding coming to the mix, that more traditional no code, low code platforms? What are some of those kind of like, thoughts of, using either resource?
Yeah. So if your engineering team is shipping a particular no code or low code platform, or if it is utilizing something available in the world, right? In that case, it comes with a predictability. It comes with a lot of checks and balances, which make sure that you can use that system with a right confidence, right? There are a lot of benchmarking numbers, a lot of testing happens when it goes out, right? And the good part is the structure remains, right? So you get lesser creativity freedom, but you get a lot of structured things which you can utilize, as I talked, right? The template based things, right? And in that manner, think about if a business team wants to automate a particular workflow, right? And if that workflow is a standard workflow, why to innovate again and again? Why to use AI code? Maybe each of your business team member, if they try to solve the same problem, not utilizing no code or low code with an AI assist. So that's an overkill, right? And usually what happens is that one of the challenge or cons of using AI assist or AI code based thing is, apart from the governance or data security and all those things, right? Is that you don't have the versioning control. You don't have the how to maintain your prompt and check-ins and making sure that there's no repeatability. How to utilize the token itself, right? Many of the times you think that, okay, let's make this call, that call, and utilize this for a number of operations, right? But all these things comes at a cost. Do you have incorporated that while coding that? Maybe no. And that's the challenge I see. That's the cons of when you are into that creative freedom, you lose on the structure part of it, you lose on the cost control part of it, and at the same time the reusability angle, which is usually pretty much high in the no code, low code, and traditional coding concept, right? One of the primary things any developer you ask, right? Write once and read it, use anytime, right? So that kind of a principles goes for a toss in this setup, right? And when it comes to low code and no code, right? If you combine these two things, right? If I just say that figure out a sweet spot where when the workflows are standard in nature or can be utilized based on a template, AI coding with the governance from the engineering team with a common playground is utilized to build those kind of workflows, which are very much easy to be customized by the business team. So that makes a very sweet spot where you're utilizing the beauty of both worlds, and at the same time the challenges of the structure, the governance, all are getting handled by the tech team with the playground support there.
We'll definitely appreciate your insights on that. Thank you so much. All right, Maruf, let's talk about the business and operational side of things. From your perspective, have you seen your teams like, kind of eager to become citizen developers, or did the idea of, just before we get into AI versus low code, no code, for folks who are not professional developers, were they eager to kind of get into the mix, or was there a sense of that was a kind of a distraction from the core responsibilities that they really, knew how to focus on?
Yeah, so in our team, we have seen curiosity and confusion around AI, and a lot of it was based on departments that may have areas where they could improve the processes. We have a young team, so there is a lot of people that were eager to get in and understand how AI can help their processes there. But what we have done is we have created a AI steering committee, and to give them a safe space to experiment within the governance and framework that we can work on. For us, it was important to make sure that it does not distract from their core processes, core business, but complements it. And giving the team that we had built, and it was from essentially all areas of our life in terms of the corporate life. I have lawyers in there, and I have the most aggressive developers in there that are there to help the citizen developers that are really business experts, if you really look at it that way. They're in the business, and they're looking at a way to develop something that quickly meets their business needs. I encourage that. I encourage black sky thinking, blue sky thinking, looking at innovation, but I want to do it within the framework that protects quality, governance, and people itself.
So can you say that, it sounds like this might be the case, but has the prospect of AI coding and other resources kind of made the idea of citizen development more attractive? Or has AI coding kind of even jumped to say like, okay, we can do AI coding, maybe we don't need to get as many citizen developers in the mix because, we can just, keep pushing to the AI to do this?
I think it has definitely made it more accessible, and it has definitely made the idea of a business person trying to develop something without the formal background. But to me, this is actually a good thing because it actually aligns the business needs with more professional developers that can build on that need. So yes, citizen developer probably can do a quick proof of concept, but if it needs to get out of that sandbox where data security and think governance are important, they can hand it over to a more professional developers. So I see it as something that has made it accessible, but it actually makes businesses better because now you have more people that are there coming up with solutions that professional developers can take. I mean, I'll date myself, but I've been doing this over 30 years. And a lot of times, people would say, develop something and I'll let you know whether it meets my needs or not. I think that really reduces when you have citizen developers that understand the business problem can actually develop something that's kind of like a pseudo requirement that can be taken forward. So I think it's a great thing.
Gotcha. Are there any other kind of benefits that you kind of realized, through citizen developers, whether it's been specifically through AI or other like no-code, low-code platforms that have kind of that you've kind of said, oh wow, this was something that became beneficial to our organization?
For us, the development cycle has actually accelerated because of that, because the citizen developers are actually part of the development team in the initial stages of what is needed, what are they looking for. So it has helped us. It has definitely helped us, and I have encouraged it. Again, we have we had been fortunate enough to create a strong AI steering committee that could guide them. But I encourage that as something. Anybody who wants to have an idea, come there, present it to the presenter group, and do something around it.
Gotcha. Okay. And from a business leadership perspective, does the prospect of AI coding, further use of AI coding, feel like a very reliable way to kind of like you talked about what's been having an ongoing steady way to kind of compress the development process and deliver the apps and software you need just going forward? I know we're still kind of in early days of AI.
Yeah. So I think the reliability is obviously the word that is in the AI that is a question mark, right? Because AI is only going to give you the result that it's being fed. So I would say that it's not the reliable part of it, but it is the part of working with the business problem and business team and the development team assess their needs, and that has been better for us. And it has compressed the time because now there is less areas of contention because there is co-ownership, almost co-authorship of the product that's coming out. So that way, it has been a more robust product coming out of the pilot that you can then scale and put your governance around it and data quality around it and everything else that goes with that development cycle. So for us, I would not say that it's the reliable way, but it has definitely helped compress the timeline that's needed to produce a reliable product.
Gotcha. Great. All right. Appreciate your insights on that. Okay, great. All right. For those folks who are listening along with the podcast, I have taken out the Ninja Turtles game screen, which means it is time for my favorite part of the show. It is time for Questionable Ideas Are Us. Questionable Ideas Are Us. It is a fictional company where our tabletop exercise unfolds. And this is a time when our guests to the podcast will be asked to tackle some outrageous scenarios inspired by real-world IT strategies and challenges. So intentionally comical in certain places. So let's see how the two of you navigate the chaos that I've brought forth for you today. Once again, these are going to be over the top, and our guests are going to be are invited to play as if they have been brought on as interim executives for the company known as Questionable Ideas Are Us. These questions and these scenarios have not been shared in advance with our guests, so disclaimer to them that they are not responsible for the shenanigans that are about to ensue. So, okay, let's get this ready, lined up. Okay. All right. And they're definitely not responsible for the hobgoblins and kobolds that they will be confronted with within these scenarios. Okay. Christian and Maruf, are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right, scenario one. The manufacturing arm of Questionable Ideas Are Us needs new digital twins immediately to support the rollout of forthcoming product lines. They are quite literally building the car while driving it because the pace of the market now demands that. Manufacturing needs these digital twins to model the life cycle and repair needs of the new products, but there is little time for the usual development process. The hashtag Hobgoblins eagerly suggests that the teams across the company, professional and citizen developers, vibe code to create these digital twins and simply trust whatever they come up with. No one will have time to notice any pesky mistakes due to product churn. At least that's what they're hoping for. Meanwhile, Larry, the lawyer for the company from the legal department, is pulling his hair out in advance, muttering about the liabilities. How do you handle the need to deliver versus possible faults in widespread, potentially risky vibe coding that might ensue?
Great. Yeah. So you want me to go first?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, great. So I think as you mentioned, right, that the statement is that it's a moving car and we need to build a new feature like this with the vibe coding, right? So I'll say vibe coding is not the the right word or right solution I will go ahead with, but I will build my strategy around this, that I will definitely utilize the citizen developers and the tech team. I will craft, as Maruf also mentioned about the AI committee part of it, right? I will define and I'll break the problem into multiple structures. So I'll see that when it comes to the speed or agility of building something, right? Understanding the business objective and coming up with the POCs and making sure that as the digital twin we need to build, right? This will require a lot of understanding on the schema part of it, understanding different kind of models, how it works. So these all will be still governed by the tech team, the core tech team, but there is a great chance that the system developers who are coming from this background, they will know the context, the business value better, right? So I will divide my team into parts where one team will be focused on, I call it as a mission driven team, the way I'm kind of, trying it in my org, right? So we call it as a mission driven team, that the objective of that team is to make sure that with understanding given a mission, you are able to kind of code the business problem in the quickest way possible, but that will not hit the market or that will not hit the production itself. There is another team which I'll craft, which will be more on which will not just talk about the data security and governance. It will also talk about when it comes to, for example, if a particular app or a digital twin itself, right? Or maybe data leakage and audits are definitely part of that particular channel. But the core first principles of a particular system to work at scale, right? Utilizing distributed systems, or how you'll make sure that you're able to kind of maintain all this, the elasticity of the system, right? All these core concept will be there on the second layer. And the third layer will be the data governance, and if you're doing it in the agentic manner or something of that sort, defining the right kind of a evaluators, all these things will come in, right? And not last but not the least, the teams, the NOC teams, or the teams which monitors all this, right? I'll not just fully rely on just automated systems to kind of monitor it. Definitely I'll craft a minimal team to kind of do this. So I'll try to kind of come up with the trek strategy where utilizing the beauty of the speed which we are getting right now, but coming up with a playground where it's not going out of your hand, where you can be in a lawsuit tomorrow. And that's the reason the structuring or the tech strategy for that will be kind of governed like this, where you need to think through the structure part of it. And many of the times when we see, right, and to make this strategy, I'll not just go to a LLM based app to come up with a strategy for it. I'll try to utilize my own experience of seeing a word where the AI was not that prominent versus a word where it has become very much prominent, right? Utilizing the beauty of both the things, and coming up with a digital twin kind of a concept, right? Or maybe a large scale if you need to do, right? The platform based mindset or the product based mindset is the key. The vibe coding is the second. It's one of the ways, like the way we create presentations or maybe to do things, right? But the good part is the product thinking, the platform thinking, the first principles of coding, the guardrails regarding the data security, governance, AI committee, all this I'll try to kind of form to kind of tackle to this particular scenario.
Sure, gotcha. Maruf, your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, from my point of view, this is exactly what the AI committee faces every week when we meet. And there is, as I said, we have lawyers there, and we have citizen developers and developers that want to run 200 miles per hour.
That's exactly what the hobgoblins are.
Hobgoblins, yeah. Hobgoblins don't want to worry about legal, and legal wants to worry about everything, right? But this is where you balance sort of the business needs and the pros and cons of liability versus speed and those elements that are important. So I would do what we typically do. We look at the pros and cons. We try to get to a minimum viable product, do some pilots, do a small scale deployment, and understand what are the flaws that may be there. If the flaw is not big enough, we may move to the next stage. So there is a stage development and stage progression to it. But if it is big enough, my lawyer will be very happy, but I probably would side with him, because sometimes the liability of having one product out can put the whole company in jeopardy and the people's livelihoods in jeopardy. So this is exactly where a steering committee with a safe framework guidance structure would be there, and hobgoblins and the lawyers just have to work it out. Yes.
Just because the hobgoblins are very energetic doesn't mean you have to listen to them.
Exactly.
But not listen to them.
But we still want to encourage them to be innovative and encourage the potential of the technologies that are out there that the legal teams are not really there yet.
Gotcha. Okay, great. All right. Keeping the company going and keeping the hobgoblins in check. Okay, on to scenario 2. The leadership team gathers to discuss some issues that came up with the new product line. Digital twins produced through that fast and furious vibe coding that the hobgoblins did manage to squeeze some of that in there, had a number of flaws. They failed to predict significant maintenance issues in the product. Fortunately, nothing catastrophic happened, but the legal department is far from happy. As you start the discussion, there's a chill in the air. You turn around and the kobolds, and I do mean COBOL because they are very entrenched in the idea of using COBOL. They're the arch enemies of hobgoblins, are already in the room, standing behind you all, staring. They say they warned you about this, and they strongly suggest doing away with citizen developers entirely. Get back to coding the old-fashioned way, they say, where developers must show their work. No more shortcuts, not even no-code, low-code. The kobolds roll out a chalkboard and insist that each developer take a piece of chalk and write out their code for everyone to see before any further apps or software gets put into production. How do you ensure the skills of the developers, whether they're professional or citizen, are applied in meaningful ways to the organization as platforms and resources change so quickly?
Yeah, I don't think I want to go back to the days when I have to worry about memory management and pointers, because I have done that with C. Visual tools that came before the AI did take us to a next level of development. Look, we have to embrace the technology. So as much as I would love the COBOL guys, and I may have done some programming in that, won't admit it fully, is that there are going to be flaws if you're going to take technology and be in the cutting edge of it. And as an organization, we have to determine in what areas and what is the flaws that maintenance was identified in the digital twins. If it's a catastrophic flaw, then you got to pull it back and take a look at it and try to fix it. If it's a flaw that you can live with and it's a cosmetic flaw, you kind of work it in your next iteration and kind of address it. I look at some of these decisions almost like a one-way door and a two-way door kind of a scenario. In a one-way door, when you go through the door, you cannot come back. So you got to be very careful, and the areas that are around personal data security is kind of those that if it gets out there, it gets out there. You're hard. Two-way door is, yes, it will be painful. Maybe you do a product recall, maybe you do a feature recall, some feature you disable, but you can come back to it. So it's going to really depend on what we are seeing, but COBOL guys need to go back and learn some AI.
Gotcha. Krishna, your thoughts. Meanwhile, as you're pondering this, the kobolds are writing circles and various symbols with the chalk on the ground,
yes.
waiting for your answer.
Yeah. So if you see, right, this kind of a situation can come, and it has come to my experience in the past actually. So what happens is that there will be people who are not very confident on the things because they have not lived that journey, and the confidence on the system is not that high. Let's before going to answer this, right, I'll try to take an example. Take an example of autonomous car, right? I can sit in Tesla any day and I will trust the system that it can drive. But my father will not sit on it because there is no driver. 200% sure. Because the confidence on the system, the way you have seen your experiences or the life, the way you have done your things in the past, something drastically different when it comes, right? It needs to prove and get a belief, right? Now coming to the scenario, right? What we have said that, okay, if you attempt this problem that, okay, do you need to remove all the vibe coding or the citizen developers? No, definitely not, right? But at the same time, if you give the confidence in the room saying that, okay, these are the auditing layers which I'm going to kind of introduce. These are the monitoring layer which I'm going to introduce. These are the approval workflows which are going to come. And if that proves deterministically that it's not just something just happening on the prompt basis and something are getting approved, there's an actual science behind it. And if you see that I can actually prove my approval process the way you trust on your testing, right? Because if you go to traditional world, when you ship something in a particular code, right, it still got tested by a few people, the testing layer happens and then it goes to the thing, right? The error can happen there also. You can make mistakes there also, right? Why people trust that thing more, and at least the way I have seen in few of the rooms like this, They test it. Okay, you have done regression testing, you have done unit testing, this, that. All good. UAT testing done. I'm confident. But the moment you produce something where you say that, okay, you have done something very fast because the speed is there. The things which are taking maybe 3 weeks to build is getting done in 1 day. The confidence on the approval layer or the monitoring layer, right? It's very, especially on the approval layer, it's very low. The moment you talk about AI is coding, AI is approving, people will think, oh no, I need some man in middle, right? And that's the reality. That's the reason that human in the loop kind of a concept, the way the AI is evolving, right? So I will try to address the room in a manner that come up with the frameworks and the structures, as Maruf also mentioned, right? Where I can gain the confidence of it. And why not be taking them also part of this whole journey so that they can understand all these things in the deeper manner, right? So that they will have a better trust on it. And after doing all this, there is a chance that you can break again. The way you can break in the traditional world, you can break again, and you need to again kind of evolve into this particular logic, right? That's the beauty. And coming up with a platform or approach where you are able to evolve on day-to-day basis, and at the same time your team is also getting evolved, where they are not testing the next version, but they are testing the current version or the version which is at least live into production, right? That kind of a confidence. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Great. Appreciate that insight. Kobolds are a little, they wanted to, they got this chalkboard out and they want to, make everyone scribble out their code. They might be going by each cubicle on their way back to their dungeon, checking everyone's code as they go. Okay, great. All right, on to the last scenario. The board of directors is in love with the idea of vibe coding, though they're not entirely sure what it actually is. And we might need you to actually define what vibe coding is. They want to end the use of no-code, low-code and end contracts for those platforms entirely, to go fully AI for coding across the company by the end of the month. The professional and citizen developers in the company are panicking about what this means for the current roles in the company. Citizen developers fear they might not be able to navigate vibe coding on par with the pros. Meanwhile, the professional developers say they still must correct flaws produced by AI, especially in this whole vibe coding space. How do you convey to the board concerns from the rank and file about their mandated changes? And, what actually is vibe coding at the end of the day?
So for me, okay, I can go ahead. So look, if it's the board saying it, what are they talking about how the coding should be done for an organization? So they need probably a little bit more work on really strategic elements of the business. But I would basically tell them about the pitfalls of doing away with the teams that have been instrumental in the development of IT systems and systems that we have, to just go to the latest area of coding, and the concerns that they have, apart from losing jobs. And to me always, new technology always creates jobs. So I am a biggest proponent of people have to embrace AI and have to work with it. So I will definitely tell my board that, and the fact that needs to be done. That said, you do have to have, again, governance, framework, and those kind of things around it to ensure that the business does not suffer. And any coding that even the company would do is to drive some sort of a business outcome. So I would try to explain to the board the concerns. I would try to explain to the board the need to go fast, as fast as possible, but as slow as needed, because speed is not everything. Alignment and business outcomes are important. And then I would try to explain to them the vibe coding is not like a vibe dancing or things like that. It is using AI to generate the code that creates a framework, but it is not the end product. You need someone to still look at that, make sure it gives the right outcome. I have had examples where we are using generative AI to create a sales page, and somewhere in the sales page it uses the competitor's name wrong and puts it there. So vibe coding, generative AI, these sort of elements, while it's the latest technology and something that should be embraced by the organization, still needs to be within a framework. And I will tell the board what I just said. We will go as fast as possible, but as slow as needed.
So if I say this scenario, right, I'll go back to the basics that because of the low code, no code, or AI assist based or AI code based platforms, right? The experience what I had is that now every employee has become a potential one actually, where if someone is able to think logically, he's able to produce more value to the organization. And many times we see from the board and the leadership, right, that okay, we need to be on the same page, or we need to talk the same language. AI has enabled that. I've been into the places where business teams or operations teams, when they're presenting client requirement, they are coming up with a beautiful representation of how the dashboard will finally look, what the client is expecting. Not just explaining that we need this table, that table, or something of that sort, right? That's why the language, the number of iterations being on the same page has this has reduced a lot from the previous days, right? There are a lot of that's why everyone has become a potential employee. Now, considering this statement, if we kind of give right kind of a data pointers to the board, right? It gives a freedom that the more potential employees or the potential people who can utilize AI in a better manner, right? Be it AI assist low code, that's the gold mine actually, because you can do more with those kind of a people, and maybe encourage right kind of innovation with the governance, as Maruf also mentioned, right, where we can have the frameworks to kind of control it. And last but not the least, because they will be kind of interested in how we can lower down the costs of different kind of subscriptions which are going on for low code, no code, or things like this. I will definitely consider that point in a manner that are we utilizing the full potential of those platforms for the current use cases we have, right? If we see places where initially we were kind of blocked by a particular tool, and maybe no code is not required, low code is required, then I can, based on my company's objective in place, right, I can look forward to see that where all things where I don't need to invest much more on the tokens part of it or the subscription part of it. I will try to kind of come up with the balance of it, right? But I will embrace the citizen development, or I will kind of be like motivate everyone in the org to kind of come up with a page where they're able to utilize become the shadow IT team and help us with the innovation and come with the same pace as the way a developer thinks. And to my fellow developers, especially the tech teams, right, whose core job is this, right, they will be definitely in a situation that okay, these all now people can code, my value is going down, what will happen to my job or something of that sort. This kind of a concerns happens, right, as a human, right? And the beauty of this word is that think about your maybe 40% of your boring work is going for, like, you are enjoying that particular time to build something more meaningful because of all these tools which exist, right? And that way it gives you freedom to kind of, if you talk to any of the developers in your team, right, you'll realize that no one is happy with their 100% of the work. How you can make sure that your tech team is becoming happy of what they are doing because of the tools which are coming in and which are helping them solve the rigorous or maybe things which are not that interesting to kind of problem solve. So that's what I would try to convince my board on these topics. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Gotcha. Great. Appreciate that input. Last quick question. You see that the hashtag hobgoblins are whispering in the board of the director's ears about vibe coding. You have 10 seconds to explain what vibe coding is and to potentially correct whatever nonsense the hobgoblins are saying. What do you tell the board what vibe coding actually is?
So I'll say, think about utilizing natural languages. You can natural like English. You can convert your idea to an app, and you can do it with a speed. You have creativity at your hand, and your board members, if you have not written the code in the past, you can also write it.
Gotcha. Maruf?
I was going to say similar that even you can write code, board members, and they can use the vibe coding platforms to generate applications that they could never have in the past. So it's a tool to get some of these ideas out using the AI.
Gotcha. Great. Okay, great. Well, listen, that does it for the scenarios and for the episode. Krishna, Maruf, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. You've been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Ed.
it.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.